Tonight, our series on the first 100 days of the Donald Trump administration looks at one of the president-elect's most unconventional and memorable promises to drain the swamp here in Washington. Correspondent Doug McKelway tells us what that means and how Trump plans to do it.
If there is a poster child for Washington's revolving door, it might be former Congressman Billy Towson of Louisiana, a 12-term Democrat turned Republican. He chaired the influential House Commerce Committee from 2001 to 2004 and pushed the controversial Medicare bill of 2003 through Congress. It may have made drugs cheaper for senior citizens.
Seniors will see lower drug expenses in this bill. CBO estimates in many cases by as much as 50 to 70%.
But it also ended up costing taxpayers a fortune, $549 billion over 9 years, and made huge profits for the drug companies. The bill passed in the wee hours of the night, and a few months later, Towson left Congress to become the chief lobbyist for the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, a trip through the revolving door that provoked a vow from this presidential candidate to end it.
And you know what? The chairman of the committee who pushed the law through went to work for the pharmaceutical industry making $2 million a year.
Towson denied our request for an interview, but has often defended his move. He told the Washington Post that he was diagnosed with intestinal cancer after leaving Congress and credited cutting-edge pharmaceuticals for his survival. Quote, "I wanted to work in an industry whose mission is no less than saving and enhancing lives." Towson's passage through the revolving door is hardly unique.
Many of the top staffers who helped write the Affordable Care Act then became health care lobbyists. You saw this from staffers from the House and the Senate side, where they went ahead and the drug companies hired them, the insurance companies hired them.
It's not illegal. Some believe it's not even unethical. Paul Miller of the National Institute for Lobbying and Ethics says the public benefits from the revolving door.
The government is run a different way, and you have to understand how it operates, and you need people like myself to be here every day looking out for your interests, because if you're not, somebody else will, and you're going to lose out.
Miller says previous attempts to shut the revolving door have backfired. He cites the 2006 ban on lobbyists paying for a congressman's meal. Forbidden from picking up the tab, lobbyists simply found new ways to buy time and influence.
I can call your boss and say, I want to have a one-on-one for an hour over a meal, talk about my issue, settle up with a check, and then push an envelope across the table and say, oh, by the way, here's your campaign check. You tell me what looks more corrupting.
But the revolving door's effect is insidious, not only enriching those who pass through, but raising the cost of government. Take the Pentagon, where former high-ranking military officers are scarfed up by major defense contractors to preserve their connections and their business.
Fewer and fewer companies are involved in the defense business because the Pentagon does play favorites. Smaller, newer, more agile companies have trouble getting into the process itself. When the Pentagon has $469 billion in cost overruns from its major defense acquisition portfolio, then something really needs to be done.
We're going to drain the swamp of corruption.
Three key components of President-elect Trump's plan to drain the swamp include a 5-year ban on White House and congressional officials lobbying after they leave government, a lifetime ban on White House officials lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, and a complete ban on foreign lobbyists raising money for American elections. History has proven it may be easier said than done. Of the thousands of influence peddlers in Washington, one is only a registered lobbyist if 20% or more of one's time is spent lobbying. Nobody measures that 20%. It's on the honor system.
And that's where the gray line becomes. You have people in the public policy arena or the PR arena who will say, I do maybe some lobbying, but most of it is in the PR, and that's not lobbying, so I don't have to register. It's people skirting the system, in my opinion.
And it's that skirting of the system that allowed the Obama administration to hire people who did lobbying work after it vowed it would not. The same test awaits the Trump administration here in the swamp, which operates by a maze of rules so complex it often takes a swamp dweller to navigate through it all. Brett?
Doug, thank you.